So, Joe, so many solopreneurs leave corporate, especially in the age of AI, when they have the ability to do so and start their one person business because they don't have the restrictions that they used to. And they get excited because they finally are spending their time doing what they love. They think it's going to be all ponies and rainbows. Um, but then they wake up, let's say 6 months later, and they're like, where did my week go? Why is my inbox packed? Why am I constantly rescheduling and scheduling? Why am I only responding to Slack messages with quick questions from contractors I work with? And they're like, why am I not as far along in my business as I thought I'd be? I'm working by myself. I have control over my schedule. And I think the truth is it's the invisible work that expands unless you are able to structurally contain it. And people don't realize that an email here and there, a Slack message here and there can really add up, and it drains you, it sucks your time, it sucks your energy, and it ultimately, I think, sucks your profit. And so today I wanted to talk about this admin creep and all of this, so we can help people kind of think about it before they either jump ship from corporate or they have just started, because you have to think about it ahead of time. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's not just a corporate thing, although it's certainly rampant in corporate, but it's an attitude thing that busy equals productive, right? Which it isn't. And that somehow we can be plugged into the people around us, whether it's customers or contractors or family or whatever else it is, 24/7, 365, and that's somehow a good thing. And it's absolutely not. I
No.
mean, just email alone. I always tell the story about kind of one of those epiphanies for me in my work life was, and this is going back a few years, but I went into the office and I sat down and it was about 9 o'clock and I said, here's all the things I'm going to get done today. And let me check my email. And the next thing, it was after lunch and I was still dealing with stuff coming. I was responding to emails and then I would go to work and then somebody would respond to the email. And one of my fears was the fact that if I didn't respond to the email, my email inbox was, so overloaded with stuff coming in that it would get pushed down. I would miss it and then not respond. And then obviously the universe would end at that point.
Yeah, obviously.
And I said, no more, no more. And I started only looking at email twice a day for a certain amount of time. And I told people, you're not going to hear from me. I had a business partner in one of my businesses at that point, and it made him crazy. He would email other people in the company to come get me to respond to his emails because he was so frustrated.
Yes.
But it worked for me. I got work done.
And emails are such a big, like, time suck. I'm gonna call this, like, admin creep, because it's the email stuff, the scheduling calls takes a while, the chasing paperwork, the taking notes, the managing your CRM. It just these are the little things, the busy work that you may have had other people, if you did come from corporate, you may have had other people do this for you. Um, but together, I mean, they can take hours out of your week if you don't set boundaries.
Well, if you have a boss that expects you to respond to their email within 5 minutes, you don't really have a lot to say, right? You're going to do it. But now you do. And, responding to emails quickly, I consider that to be the opposite of a virtue, right? It's not a good sign. It means that if anything I say about email goes 10x for Slack, because it's just, I mean, you can shut it off, you can tell it to stop bugging you, but everybody expects that immediate response. And I know sometimes we are using Slack right now for a very short time till we are using another app that we'll talk about later. But I'll Slack message George B. Thomas and he'll apologize to me for getting back to me a half an hour later because he was on a call with somebody else. And I'm like, don't apologize.
Yeah. But I mean,
It's not.
you do kind of have to retrain your brain, because I've been a solopreneur for a decade at this point. And even this morning, I was unavailable because I told you I was at my kid's school for an hour and a half. And I was anxious because I thought I would be missing something. And it's like, but I I only work with, like, you. Like, you're gonna call me if it's urgent. You know what I mean? It just retraining your brain to be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, it doesn't have to be urgent." I mean, this has only been a problem within the past 10, 20 years.
Right. Right. Yeah. We used to mail a letter and put the lick the envelope and put the stamp on and wait a couple of weeks. And I'm kidding. We had telephones, right? And people would make telephone calls and those they used to have these pink slips that would say, while you were out and so called. And so, yes, we've always had some level of this, but it's just reached insanity level. And, we have to talk about context switching and the cost of context switching and the cost time-wise of getting back into deep work. I was watching something with Cal Newport the other day. He's a professor at, I think, Georgetown, and he wrote a book called Deep Work, and another one called A World Without Email. And he's just a kindred spirit to me and to you, I think, because it's crazy trying to get any good work done if you're constantly being interrupted.
Yes. Well, and speaking of which, I want to of being interrupted. You mentioned Slack. Whether or not you use Slack or another messaging, I used to get distracted all the time on GChat when like the Gmail chat. And if you think you're just, I mean, it, I do actually. I've never actually tracked how much time I spend texting or responding to chat messages or whatnot. But it takes so long. And I would say if it's anything that could be done in one email and you just answer all your questions right there and send it all together, rather than sending your days, that distraction time is significant. And people don't realize that. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
Well, I mean, just the fact that as you said earlier, it takes discipline and it takes communication. So if you're one of those people, like most people, when you're responding quickly and constantly being interrupted by communication from important people, customers, contractors, and whatever else, or even your family. I mean, my family, they're very good about not interrupting me. So when something happens from one of my family members, I usually assume it's urgent. But there is the occasional, group text message that's a joke, but you have to basically set some boundaries. Like I have one where I check email in the morning and I check it in the afternoon, and I respond, accordingly. And if you send me one at lunchtime, you're probably not going to hear from me till later in the afternoon. And people that I work with know this about me. In fact, they know that if they really want me on something urgent, that email is not the way to go. And it just, you communicate that. People usually respect it. If they don't, I mean, it's probably not worth giving up your work life for somebody that, can't handle waiting, for an answer. Sometimes you can come up with an emergency thing. Like you said, you make a phone call, say, okay, so-and-so is calling me. This has to be urgent. I'll interrupt my day. And that way you have both a system that doesn't force you to context switch constantly and has an emergency fail-safe in case there's something urgent.
Absolutely. And I think the moral of the story for today is set those boundaries, but also go through that administrative task list of yours and see where you can automate and outsource to get things off your plate and try to predict what kind of things will creep into your day that will take you away from the important work. And like Joe said, be clear about those boundaries. The clients you want will respect you for them. If they don't, you probably don't want those clients anyway. And just think of ways to manage your time. Protect your time. It is yours now, so don't waste it.
And eliminate if there's some things you're doing that are just kind of, well, why am I doing this? I mean, we have things we do that aren't really doing much. And, I've had a few of those that I've eliminated recently, and it freed up some time.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the moral of the story today. Just reclaim the time. It is finally yours, so don't waste it. But if you think a friend needs to hear this kind of information, share this episode with them. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. And you guys leave a 5-star review. It helps us spread the word and grow and reach
And
many more people.
it makes me so happy too when I go and see a new review. It just makes my day, especially when they say something
I
nice.
was just gonna say that we just got another 5-star review, and I was like, la 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 la. So yeah, it's
It's a
just
good
amazing. We
day.
so appreciate it, and we think others will too because it will reach their ears. Anyway, we will see you next week on the Aspiring Solopreneur.